Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
There she is.
There she is. I meant to show it to you too before we hello everybody. Welcome to the Banana Rugby Podcast.
Well,
I can't show it because our internet connection isn't amazing, so it's better without videos. But I wanted to show you. I'm going to turn my video on very quickly, and and the next time you're back in Ireland, I'm going to get you a slab of this stuff. Can you see that?
lilt.
Yeah, isn't it? It's literally it's the Aldi lilt, and it's the last thing on the market at the moment that actually tastes like lilt. It's I got a pack of it the other day, and it's fucking delicious. It's still it's so close. It's not perfect.
Come
but
here.
it's
Do you remember when I told you ages ago I had a present for you, and then I basically had to tell you after however long that my mother had drank it because it's 2 bottles of lilt. I found this lilt in the fucking
actual
deals.
lilt. Actual lilt.
Lilt. It's in deals, man.
Oh, very interesting.
But great to know that when stock's around that, we've got
and
our
the apocalypse is only around the corner. Let's be honest. So Tropical Blast Zero Sugar from Aldi is a very close second.
What do you mean, the zombie apocalypse?
Yeah, that one in your head. Wow,
Hooray!
you're getting so good at the old segues there. That was very nicely done. Very nicely done. How was your week been? Oh, well, we need to address the technical. We are the most technically inept couple of bollockses of all.
Well, to be fair, I think I know who everyone's blaming, because last Friday when we tried to do a live stream of a live version of our show, it was just me sitting at home requesting to join, and it was like, your request to join hasn't been sent, and you went live and you just had to talk to yourself. But people in the comments were like, it's because she's in France, it's the French, boo the French. Everyone was like blaming France. So I'd say that's why just things don't work anymore. It's because I'm in France,
and the French do their own thing.
More tricky.
Yeah. I guess there must be some licensing laws or something, like, or maybe your phone was like, no, you shall not speak to that man. I'm sorry. You can't even say croissants properly. It's oh God, that was right in the ears. It was it was. In fairness, a few people got a message afterwards going, that's one of the silliest, stupidest, funniest things I've ever seen. It's just me kind of going, can I let Anna in? No.
But you know what's so funny is it was so like 2020 vibes.
It actually had.
When we all started to do it for the first time.
Yeah. And in all fairness, Donald McSweeney, he actually just put his hand up and went, try me. And it was fucking brilliant.
But I was trying to say, and I commented underneath saying, like, Jesus, Anna's not looking great these days. But the comment didn't come in until like 10 minutes after he had hung up.
And I was told it was kind of cryptic. I went, is she trying to tell everybody that she looks rough as fuck and that's why she won't come on camera? Did she got a black eye or something? Like, what's after her?
Jesus, if that had stopped me.
No. Anyway, so we that's Tropical Blast. I can only apologize to anybody who got very excited with the notion of joining us on a live Instagram live. We now realize that Anna France just doesn't like me, but we got great response. A lot of people very happy with our How to Rugby last week. People who thought they knew a fair bit about rugby and we were watching it all their lives were like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that makes that everything is slipping into place in my mind now, because that's what they're doing and that's why they're doing it. It was a great episode. A few people now, like I know one particular person, she wouldn't have watched rugby in a month of Sundays and she's getting caught up in the whole rugby thing, but it's like the train has passed. And she's like, I know that scoring tries wins matches. And listen to the podcast. Absolutely loved it. Loved it. We'll actually probably refer back to it. If we had notes, we don't write notes, but if we had minutes, we would definitely put it out there on.
Yes. We should start taking minutes.
We
should hire someone to start taking minutes.
Typically, your weekends are wild and mad and more. So I'll just get mine out of the way. It looked like last Friday I was on I was with the late people, but I actually couldn't put up anything about it because it was last Wednesday. We were pre-recorded the country special of the Late Show, where I was as I have been, the warm-up act. And I've been getting more and more realizing what my role is. Like, you can't walk out to this audience and just start doing stand-up. They're very nice, but when the whole set of the Late is 5 feet behind you, there's cameras moving over and back, people tend to get distracted. So you can't really go, okay, come with me on this introspective fucking piece. So
interesting.
Yeah, and the band are tuning up.
You have to engage a lot.
You have to engage a lot, and you're a hype person, basically. So you're getting them to just cheer things, and you can work in your material that way then. But
yes,
I didn't need none of that heavy thinking on Wednesday/Friday night, because I'll tell you something, these are my kind of people. To say that 200 audience members, like, they were buzzing. They were, I mean, frothing. It was amazing to see how buzzing they were, because they knew they were going to see their absolute kings and queens of country music up on the stage in no time, from Philomena Begley to Declan Nerney. It was it was great. It was great, and they are lovely people. We were briefly talking beforehand, as country music stars, they're stars, and they're making a lot of money, and a lot of money. But every one of them, like I said to you, listen, you want to see the outfit that goes with some of these. Like, I've been at hotels performing, and the next thing, they'll be coming in for the next night, and you'll see like a full-size truck, a couple of vans, and it's all just got one person's face on the side of it. It's like, Jesus, somebody's good. And you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, you're filling the INAC for 3 nights, and all the money's going to you. Cool. That's amazing. But what I noticed was every one of them struck you as the kind of person that wouldn't be shy about emptying the van, doing the hard graft. Every one of them has worked their whole off. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Oh, that's what you got from it. Like, oh, class. Like, there's been 1 or 2 in the last few weeks where you're like, oh, you're staying in your dressing room. Okay, you're extra cool and special. Whereas, the super nice people tend to come into the green room, shake hands with people, and say hello and stuff like that. Like Joe Wicks. Did I tell you I met Joe Wicks?
Oh yeah, he wasn't on the country special. No, he was the week before, wasn't he?
Oh God, that would have been one of the greatest crossovers of all time. Would have been country music, exercises for kids.
His workouts
with Joe Wicks. Wow, I think that's a hybrid I want to see. Love it. Nice man. That's not a lot. Not a lot going on. What are you ripping there now? Is it some plaster covering a cut?
No, I'm having a biscuit. It's unbelievably packed packet of biscuits. There's just this kind of sellotape thing you pull back, and the biscuit like pops out the bottom. Unbelievable. Anyway, go on about Joe Wicks.
Yes, met
Joe Wicks while I dip my Vicky in my tea.
Joe Wicks, very nice man. Like I said, he was like, all right, mate, I really liked your comedy. It's very, very funny. I mean, wow, there's nothing like laughter, is there? I mean, I suppose, there isn't. No, I mean, foes of soul. I mean, I do the exercise thing. And he was explaining that, like, I didn't know who he fucking was. Like, I'm like, nice, cool. Who'd you do that with?
Well, that's nice.
He was a terribly nice man. And what was strike me was like, how are you so floaty and you're a gazillionaire? And next thing, this is my brother. He handles everything. And I spoke to the brother. Oh, okay. Great to have that guy. Great to have that guy. Yeah. You just be the face of it with your 6-pack and stuff, and this guy handles all the other stuff. But it was
Joe Wicks worked very hard as well. He used to be. I used to see him around Twickenham with his.
Really?
He used to he had literally working out of a little trolley, and used to do training sessions on the green, and this is before outdoor training was a thing. But you could see it around London, I suppose, people just using open spaces to train, and fucking worked his whole off as well. Yeah, he's lovely.
Yeah, you got that.
I never met him.
You got that vibe. There was more lovely people like Nina Carberry and stuff that night. There was very lovely people there.
Oh
yeah. There was a chap I never heard. I heard of him, but I didn't realize he was the lead artist Moncrief is his name. Very good singer.
Oh yeah.
Very good singer, that chap.
Yes.
Very good performer.
He's won lots of awards and
He
stuff,
has. I then when he invited me to his show in Limerick, I said I better check him out on the drive home. Turns out, tremendous performer. And loads of people, when I put the video up or the picture of him up, was like, unbelievable, you got to meet. I went, I'm so old and out of touch. But a hell of a kid. And I'll tell you something, good rugby chat. Great rugby chat. Told him about the podcast.
Really?
He was going to tour in Europe, so he was very excited. He'd been to the South African match, and he was very excited with the notion of having a new fun rugby podcast to listen to, because he's going touring around Europe. So if you are listening, young Chris, God bless you. Thank you very much for tuning in. He was very, very excited. Listen, I was in Monaghan on Saturday night. I've been gigging my head off in all sorts, but sure, look there's no point in going into it. You sent me a picture on Saturday.
Shite. I just remember now, I sent you a voice note saying, Tom, I hope I remember this, and I never listened back to it, but I think I remember what I was going to say. But look, I need to start from the start here.
Excuse me. Off you go.
Because, well, no, I'll have to start at the very beginning, a very good place to start.
Okay.
When you read, you begin. Oh, sorry, never mind.
Sorry, Roald Dahl. Did you want to?
Me. No, sorry. Right. What happened was, so because I've been giving out about it on this podcast, and the poor listeners have had to listen to me giving out about my injury and my rehab and getting back to play, and it's been really long road returning to play. It's been really hard to settle in here at a new club when I've been in the gym and all my teammates have been out in the pitch. It's really hard to get to know people. Finally got back to training, finally got back on the pitch, line outs, team session, really was starting to fire on all cylinders, feeling good. Got through half of the week of training last week, and I was in the gym on whatever day it was. I think it was Friday, can't remember, it doesn't matter. Thursday, was doing an exercise and put my back into spasm. Yes, it was Thursday morning. Back when it's a really bad spasm. I've had one once before in my life. Oh my God, for fuck's sake. I was bundled on the floor, and bear in mind now, I'm 15 years older than some of the players at this club, and I'm trying my hardest not to let it be known.
Yeah.
Old one, literally, I was I need a walking stick, lads. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get off the floor. I had to crawl, and I had to crawl when I had to get oh my God, it was so bad. Anyone who's had a lower back spasm will know what I'm talking about. I couldn't stand, walk, anything. You can't even fart.
Yeah,
sorry now.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had one for 2 days, and I had to get sideways off everything. I had to come off it sideways and slide up along the wall and stuff. Yes. I looked like a pervert. I just looked like one of those slimy cartoon perverts everywhere, just walking around with my crotch out to the world.
I was a woman in labour. Yeah. I was like a woman in labour. I was bent over. The poor physio was trying to treat me, and I was anyway, very bad. Thursday, Friday, started to ease up kind of on the Friday, but couldn't train. So because I'd only done at that stage one pitch session, I couldn't be selected for the match. So no match for me on the Sunday. It's our first game of the season. Couldn't play. Saturday, I was feeling sorry for myself. So I'll go for a coffee. Text one of the girls. I was where are you going to watch the match tonight? And she was yeah, well, sure, we'll go to the pub or whatever. She's but I'm having a drink at 12:30. Come and see me for a drink at 12:30. This is what French people do. They go for a drink in the afternoon.
Oh, lovely.
Which is it is, but I prefer to have coffee and leave the drinks till the evening, because then you have to go home and you're what am I at?
I know what you're saying. You get an awful taste for it. Then you're like, what? Why are we home? Why are we home? What do I do now?
Literally. And anyway, I went for a drink, had some lunch, we were chatting away, and a few messages had come in about anyone looking for a ticket for the game tonight, and I kept writing back saying how much. I had my eye on the train times, right? There was a train at 5 p.m.
You had, of course.
I had my eye on it, and it was €45 for the train. cheap. Like that's cheap from La Rochelle to Paris, like 2 hours on the train.
Oh, jeez, it's cheaper there.
On the TGV, yeah, ideal. I had my eye on it. You'd get into Paris at 20 to 8. Enough time. I was like, oh, I could. How much is the ticket? £240. No, definitely can't afford that. £180. No, definitely can't afford that. Then an offer came in. 2 tickets going for €45. So they were the cheapest tickets. And I was saying to my friend, she's French. I was saying to her like, oh, like should we go? Should we go?
Oh my God, that tone has been used in friendships.
Oh.
And even in the mirror to yourself throughout.
Oh, stop.
Back as far as Elizabethan times. I'd say even Napoleon at one stage was there on a quiet Saturday going, should I go? Should I go? I should go. No, I shouldn't. I should stay in. I should do my hair. I should do some laundry and stay. No, I should go. I should go. Where does this opportunity come around every 4 years?
So, but what happened was we were like, okay, we were like, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. And we had to make the decision because we had to go like get our stuff to go for the. And I was like, okay, the decision has to be made now. And I was leaning towards not going because I'm fucking broke because I lost my job.
Yes.
We'll talk about that another time. And anyway, she was like, right, list the pros and cons. I was like, okay, these are the pros. Going to a World Cup game, very cheap tickets. Ireland will probably win. There'll be songs in the stadium afterwards. We'll go to Paris. We live in France. We're not working. Because one of the barmen was like, Anna, if I wasn't working, I would be there on that train. Like, there's no, like, what are you doing? Like, if it was me, I'd go. And like, so many people are saying, oh, if it was me, I'd go. And then other people are like, no, you'll miss the anthems and you'll miss this. So anyway, we're like, okay, so what are the cons? And my phone went ding. And they're like, Anna, I'll give you the tickets for an even better price. And I was like, okay, we're going. Come on. So it was like, what are the pros? List out the pros. What are the cons? There's no time for the cons. Get home and get your stuff. And fucking, we hopped on our bikes, fucked off home, like literally, messaged your man. I was like, yes, I'll take the tickets. And like, fucking made it back to the train station, onto the train. The train was empty. Which was ideal because we were able to like stretch out, walk around. Ideal for me. And got into, we only had small bags because we knew we were only there for the night. Found a hotel, which is a bit bizarre because all the hotels, you know, people who've been going to the World Cup will have seen they were getting really expensive and like forcing people to book early, I'd say. But there was loads of accommodation available. Considering how many Irish, you know, how many friends were there, there was a lot of availability in hotels and stuff. So we got a cheap hotel. Into Paris, 20 to 8, straight on the metro, few stragglers, up to the stadium, no one around because everyone had gone in, up the steps, sitting down. So the end of the warm-up, anthems on.
Stop. That's the way to do it. So you that's the way to do it. Stroll in, loads of train space. Oh my God, that sounds glorious.
Literally. Oh God, like fucking, and you know, the packed metros and stuff, like, yeah, they can be fun sometimes, but like when you're literally kind of under pressure and you want to get there, no one around. The only thing was the metro broke down. For like about 10 minutes sitting, the electricity had gone, and I was like, oh my God, if we've made it this far now and the fucking metro breaks down. But no, got there in time. And first half was quiet enough. Oh, I was saying to you, I think I was sitting next to the kids from the kids' choir. I was sitting next to a load of kids that didn't know what was going on. They were like giving out to everyone for spilling their beer. And we were like, lads, you're going to have to rough it here now. Like, and they were giving out to us and like, they were fighting with the kids for the match, which was gas. But second half took off then. People were merrying themselves second half. Like, unbelievable atmosphere. the singing afterwards, like that was
Oh
the
my
real thing for
God.
me. I was like, I could hear Zombie in the stadium tonight. I could sing Zombie in the stadium tonight. And Zombie and Dirty Old Town, and no one fucking moved. And except for the Scottish were gone, but there weren't any of them there anyway. So it was just, I'm so glad, because I was so nervous. I was like, oh, this is a bad decision. Like, and I'm so glad I went, because. And then the next morning, go and skip forward to the next morning. We went to, apparently O'Sullivan's by the Mill became a bit of a hotspot during the Euros.
Right.
It's right next to the Moulin Rouge. It's become a fan zone for the World Cup. It was fucking gas. Carnage. Like,
of course.
The cars were driving through. There was no room. Everyone was like, beep, beep, give us a beep. So the car would have to beep and everyone would start cheering. People were climbing on top of a bus, singing. Like, it was fucking carnage. It was so
harmless
hilarious.
fun though. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's what it looked like in the videos.
The people on the bus now, I was like, get down, you're going to ruin it for everybody. Because, of course, the police had to turn up then to get the bus to move. But to be fair, the police, they were a bit rough and they're a bit angry, but I think they were like, fuck it, we're not going to escalate things here. Because I think they genuinely knew, and I think Irish people, to be fair, would never be confrontational to police officers in another country. You wouldn't even be with the guards, not a sports crowd anyway.
No, you wouldn't, no.
No. So, yeah, very much harmless, but it did need to kind of be de-escalated a bit, which they did perfectly, and everyone just went back to singing and chatting, and my God, it was just fucking brilliant. And the next day, like, walking around, went for I bought a green beret. I had my eye on a green beret. I bought a green beret, went and sat down, had a coffee and some French onion soup before we headed back to La Rochelle, and the man in the restaurant was like, Irlande, vous allez gagner le Coupe du Monde, like chatting away, like, oh, are you going to win the World Cup? And he was like, if you win the World Cup, I'll buy you a bottle of champagne. This is the waiter now in the restaurant.
Right.
Great. So if we shook on it and everything, we took photos, like, if Ireland wins the World Cup, I'm going back there the morning after the World Cup final for my champagne breakfast.
Well, it's been recorded here. I'm making note of it.
Recorded here now. James in La Bohème. Next to the Sacré-Cœur. Oh my God, it's such a beautiful place where all the artists sit around and they're selling their art, and you can sit in the middle of them and watch them painting. My God, Paris is just
that's the most Paris sounding thing ever. Like, you pretty much got chatted up by some French waiter while having onion soup, wearing a fucking beret, surrounded by I mean, other than smoking a fag, and everything was in black everything was in black and white. I mean, I don't see how that could get much more French than that right there. That's about the most French fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
I was smoking a fag on the end of one of those long yokes.
With your gloves on. With those long elbow gloves on as well.
Exactly what I was wearing. And then train back to La Rochelle. Did you know what I said to my friend as well before, like, when we were in the process of making the decision? And to be honest, it was fucking close to saying no as well. I said to her, I was like, have you ever seen the film Yes Man?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that film?
Yeah.
Honestly, just live by that.
Yes.
And it's just, doesn't always work out. It's not always like the best, but my God, am I glad I said yes to that experience. I
would have been amazed if we sat here now and you had some pragmatism had actually come over your mind. Like, you go to the pub in the middle of the day on a bike, whereas I'm gearing up the fucking car to drive to Monaghan. I'm going, I would give the days I could do that shit and never. Let this be a lesson to anybody. Listen to what Anna just did there. She absolutely pulled the trigger and got after it. Like, that's what you do. And the fucking crack ended up being 100, like always ends up being 110%. Now, I will say you withered my piss no end, because you sent me a picture. My phone plinged. I'm driving up the motorway listening to some old podcast or something, and I pull in at an apple green. I fucking hate apple greens, but I gotta fucking eat something. I look at the phone and it's Anna, just with not even, in fairness, you didn't have a smirky head in you now, because no doubt you were kind of sitting a bit awkward on the seat with your poor old back or whatever, but You were like on the train to Paris to the match with the Ireland jersey on, like, and it was your Ireland jersey too. It was like, and I'm like, I'm going to Castleblaney to host. Well, in all fairness, it was a very heartwarming thing. It was, people were very excited and had a great night. It was hosting a thing about these movies that they'd made and stuff that I told you about before, that I teach acting at, and
Yes.
but it's a fucking 6 hours long. I swear to God. And every time you left me the voicemail, you left me, I was an aftermatch, but between the movies, I don't have to be on stage. I'm just introducing them and talking about the cast being as entertaining as you can be in this environment. And I can run out behind the curtain, and I was checking the score and I couldn't believe it. I was like, hold on, did we even kick off? How the fuck have we scored a try already? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And every time it was like somebody hit one of those gongs, those dinner gongs, every time I went out the back. It's like, fuck, another try? A fucking another try? And I had to whisper this because I'm behind this curtain, and there's 1,400 people on the other side of the curtain. And could I give a fuck? I
love from behind the curtain. You were just like, yes!
I should have. Well, you see, I'm an old pro. You see, I know to turn the mic off, because I tell you one thing: a few times I went, and that would have come over the entire PA system in the middle of their movies. So, while they were enjoying themselves, I was out the back going, "Fucking another try!" And I'd come back out and completely forget what movie they were just watching. I'm like, well, that was something. That was something. So give it up for all the guys. Wow,
Yes.
good on you. Judges, what did you think of that? And there was a few points. Owen Colgan, a friend of mine from Hardy Bucks, he was one of the judges, and the fucker knew what I was up to. And a few points he just turned around and go, he just said it out straight. He went, "What's the score, Tom?" In front of all these people. He knew full fucking well what I was up to. But to be fair, I wasn't alone. Somebody shouted it from the audience a few times. There was a few lit up faces with with phones out in front of them, in all fairness. So, but yeah, I could not wait to get back down the road to watch the movie. I watched it with breakfast the next morning, and by God, oh my God, it was. I mean, for me, the end, obviously, I was like, I had to switch off because I couldn't take in how class it was. I had to turn off the match and not even watch the zombie bit or anything. Watched it because I was like, I can't.
I know,
This is what this is doing, is nearly somebody showing up after you just had an amazing fucking toasted cheese sandwich, and somebody turned up and go, "You have it, have onion relish." You're like, "Alright, for fuck's, have it now. Have it now. What good is that to me?" Do you know? That's what it was. Like, it was just too. And you know, I knew you were describing your voicemail sounded just so level-headed but super happy. You were like, "Oh, there's a horse now, Tom. People are getting excited by a horse. Here I am. There's a horse."
Yeah, the horses come out and like stop the traffic. Do you know what, like, and I feel like, yeah, especially Irish people now would be pure like intimidated by, like, you know, seeing the police with guns and stuff. So, but in general anyway, I think people are respectful, but like everyone was just singing, walking along, you know, in the droves out of the stadium. But I think that's the same time in the voice note as well, like everyone was in such good form, obviously because we've just won, but also it's very late at night after a long old day, like people were wrecked. There's loads of different accents. I know that seems like a funny thing to say, but it just struck me, like, just the different accents, and like none of this like Leinster, Munster, Connacht, Ulster bullshit. Just fucking, even though there was a little bit of that in the train, fucking hell, on the tram then I was with these fucking private school fellas, and they were like, Leinster, and the people next to them were like, Connacht, and I was like, ah, Jesus Christ, will you shut up? And they sang Molly Malone, like, didn't know anything else, and I was like, lads, I'll teach you a new version of Molly Malone. Did you ever hear that one? The girls in Mornabbey Football Club would have sung it. It's like a twist and shout version of Molly Malone. It's great crack. You'll hear it someday.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay, maybe you have.
Yeah.
So, and then then they were like, "Oh my God, it's so good." And then I tried to. There was no songs going on. I tried to start Black Velvet Band a few times, but people kept cutting across me, And I was like, fuck, like I can't do it on my own. And then the one fella was like, do the Molly Malone again. I was like, no, we just did that. It's not how it works. Let's fucking sing
Sounds
something.
like a bunch of children in preschool or something.
No, they were good. They were good as well, but they just couldn't think of songs, I'd say. But then he was like, okay, sing something else to me. And I was like, no. And they were like, go on. And I was like, right. The whole carriage is listening. I was like, what? Shut up and listen. They were like, shut up and listen. I was like, when the door closes now, I don't want a sound. And if it's too noisy and not fucking saying anything, they were like, right, shut up, lads, shut up. And the whole carriage like just quietens down, and I sang Black Velvet Band.
Did you?
And they thought it was the bee's knees, and it was great crack.
Because
that's a good one. Because it's hard to know. Like you need something that like brings everyone together.
Yeah.
That, everyone knows, but it's good and it's upbeat. But there's a bit of singing in it as well, because you can't just do one chorus. You need to have a bit of a verse as well. So, great crack.
Yeah,
I had a good few people, like a handful now of people coming up to me asking me for photos.
Yeah, of course. But you're Anna Capeless, for fuck's sake.
I know,
you forget this all the time. Like, and I say your name all the time to people. They go, played for Ireland. Yeah, class, Barbarian. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah, you're a known person. You need to ride this wave. Like you're a known person, for fuck's sake. You're walking around in an Ireland jersey. It's like, oh, that's Anna Capeless. Do you know what I mean? Like you.
Yeah, but there was fucking 60,000 people there. Like,
yeah, 60,000. That's 120,000 eyes. A few of them are gonna know who the fuck you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It was just weird. I find it was very nice. People were very nice. But it's weird because I don't know who they are.
Yeah, of course.
I'd be asking them.
They didn't play for Ireland. I mean, that's unfortunately that's a thing that happens when you play for.
Yeah.
like all 1,400 people the other night. I don't know all of them, Anna. This is what happens when you narrow the focus and you end up in an elite environment of. I'm not aligning myself with a top end rugby player, by the way. I'm just saying you just have to accept that this is a thing that happens, that people get excited and they feel you're in a perfect place for the connection too. It's like, good God, that she's our connection to fucking Ireland. Like, so of course they're going. I'd be amazed if you weren't getting stopped for 40s. And then of course somebody sees it, it's like, that's Anna Capeless or Capeless, most likely, I would imagine. But yeah, of course people are going to be asking for your 40. That's class. I love that. That's deadly.
Yeah, they're all very nice.
There's something nearly came through the telly that did you ever hear of it was a Japanese, I think he was a Japanese scientist, where he tested, you can actually measure good vibes, you know that? There's a scientific measurement now. It's not woo-woo. It's not He-Man. It's actually a measurement now. You can measure it. And they can measure it worldwide and what effects it has on things around them. And this Japanese, I think, nearly sure he was a Japanese scientist. And basically had his students scream profanities at this. It was distilled water. It was absolutely neutral. You know what I mean? Had nothing in it. It was in a lab. Scream profanities at this water every day for 30 days and be foul with it, just shouting at it, giving it like really venomous vitriol. Yeah. The water, now I should really look this up better because it's a very interesting study. And at the same time, there was another study of water where they gave nothing but warmth and love and extremely, extremely positive terms and vibes to this water.
And it turned into wine.
It turned into lilt. I just want to. Well, the water that got all the grief developed all sorts of fucking manky fungus. It fucking basically died. I will find the study for you. It's a well-known world study now, and the other one flourished in whatever way it flourished. I don't know how it flourished. Did it just stay
turned into tropical water? Juice?
It possibly did. Totally tropical. But one definitely suffered. But they can actually measure good vibes. And I wonder, in an environment like that, an encased environment, like you're all inside in a fucking, a pudding bowl, 60,000 of you, in pure euphoria. Like pure euphoria. Nobody's worrying for an extended period. There's nobody worrying. do you know, there is no anxiety. It's absolute pure happiness in that moment. I wonder how that translates to everything else around. Do you know what I mean? The actual physical environment around Paris. Like that is some good vibes. Like, you know what I mean? And okay, the Scottish people are not going to have, they're not really going to balance the books because there's only a handful of them. There's only about 30 of them or something. But
still good crack.
Still,
and like, did they? Funny, did they really think they could win? This is like this
media,
really like
here's the thing,
aggressive
Anna,
podcast, the Rugby Scottish podcast. Like,
yeah, they do. They
can't wait to end their winning streak, but they have no right to.
Yeah, but
they haven't beaten Ireland. Like,
you got to talk it up. That's the thing. You got to talk it up, and you got to talk the.
I get talking it up, but genuinely believing it is.
Yeah, I suppose maybe they saw something in themselves that they have a couple of really tasty parts, like the likes of their centres. They have, they have an unbelievable out half, like, but a couple of decent forwards, like, but I don't think they were seeing what everybody else what you and I probably saw 3-4 weeks ago, and what I definitely, even when you were going through your pragmatic stage, what I was seeing a type. There's a type. They're playing a type, especially in that first half. Ireland, and I suppose we're getting into the match now, which is a very subtle segue. I like that. They played a type of rugby the other night. There isn't a fucking country going that could deal with that. That was the most fluid. It didn't look like rugby, especially the overhead shots that they were showing. I went, what? This looks like a computer game.
Yeah.
Like the swinging of the ball was so fluid. It didn't look like passes. It was literally rolling out of their hands. And like while they say Sexton is going on the wraparound, I know he's gifted at it, but at the same time, this no look catch and just how it was just rolling from fingertip to fingertip on a fucking string. And this up against the number 5 team in the world with a very good centre partnership. And they're just in a different. The difference between number 1 and I'd say number 1, 2, and 3, and then the rest is the gulf is just fucking ridiculous. Like in that fluid movement, and it must be down to what you told me that they just played ball for training. They didn't do fucking bleep tests or Broncos, none of that shit. They just said, let's play rugby. We're here to play fucking rugby, so why don't just play a bunch of fucking rugby?
And did you see as well? The move that came off the ref.
Yeah.
The pass that went to I know that you'd be annoyed, but did you see how annoyed the coaching staff was at the moment? They were raging because obviously it takes a lot to say, okay, this is the move we're going to do. And they could see that it was obviously measured up. Like you could see, like literally, they're all in sync, coming across, ready to go, ready to fire it. And then, obviously these things happen, and the ref doesn't know where Ireland's going to go either. No one knows which way they're going to go. So
you would assume the whole idea was deception anyway, wouldn't you? Like because it's Andrew Porter's pointed the other way, and then he turns back in to pass it out to the blind side. So you gotta forgive the ref there, like.
Yeah, absolutely. You should forgive the ref for that, because it's But how annoyed the staff got, kind of.
That's a very good insight. That's a very good insight.
Surprise me, but I was a bit like, because you'd be like, for fuck's sake, especially when you're winning, by that comfortable amount, especially when the game is comfortable. They just really wanted that move to come off. It's obviously not something that they use a lot, but when they use it, they want to fucking get that right.
There's a great. I remember seeing one time. I don't know. Do you follow boxing? But there's an incredible boxer. He's known as Gennady Golovkin. I think he's Ukrainian. He's known as Triple G. There's 3 G's in his name. The same guy. His father took him out of boxing, even though he's a boxing coach. Took him out and put him in Russian ballet for 2 years to improve his body movement. And he reckoned he could create a fighter that nobody had ever seen before. And he did. He's created a fighter that cannot be beaten. He's literally he's playing in another dimension of the computer game than everybody else is. He does things you're like, oh yeah, Why didn't everybody think to do that?
Yeah. But that's how the game goes. That's
what I think Ireland are the next evolution. I just feel they're in another evolutionary stage that everybody else will catch up with at some stage. But my God,
someone did say that to me, that I can't remember who this was saying this to me, that they think that Andy Farrell has changed the game completely.
Yeah. I mean, in all credit to him, Joe Schmidt did as well. To his credit, he did it by hook or by crook. He did it kind of with under an iron fist. Do you know what I mean? He went,
absolutely.
I will fucking mold you into my team. Like, whereas, as you said,
it's not sustainable.
No.
But like we've spoken about this before as well. Like the fact that you can achieve while players are content is the absolute and utter magic formula.
Yeah.
And very, very few successful coaches have even achieved that. Like, fucking, I've his book up there, Phil Jackson.
Yes, I want to read that. Yeah, that's a book I want to get actually. I don't know if you saw if you were able to see down or the cameras panned to him, but something that kind of, if I was a Scottish fan, would have fucking terrified me, was during the anthems when everybody's intense and they're closing their eyes and they're fucking which is what you expect, and then
they were smiling.
Pans along and they fucking start smiling, and you get to Caelan Doris, the mutant I call him, because that man, he landed in some genetic pool of good mother of Jesus, and he's got this beaming smile on him. Not that he's laughing up at his mum or anything. He's like, I'm fucking in the zone, man. This is unbelievable, isn't it?
I loved it so much. I was like, oh my God, they're so happy.
Yeah.
Like,
they were in the flow state before the game even fucking started. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. Well, I fucking hope they're in it next week. But you know what I was going to say to you as well about Mac Hansen?
Yes.
I don't think I've obviously, you know, I feel very drawn to like players like Sia Khaleesi and like kind of big back rows that make a big impact on the game. I absolutely adore. So I'm not talking about that. But I think since I was a teenager, I don't think I felt a graw for a player as much as I have done for Mac Hansen.
Yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. 100. The second I saw him play for and he had my moustache playing for Connacht that time, I'm like, well, I think there needs to be no more investigation needed. This man is glorious.
Such a fucking hero. Also, how good is Jamison Gibson Park?
Oh my God. I mean, we knew he was like there was a moment last week where I was in my own head thinking about it, and I was like, is he a bit one-dimensional? You know, Murray can make those big-ass breaks and he can smash people into tackle and stuff. Maybe he is, but his speed of his pass, there's no arguing about that. But then he went and showed everybody, oh yeah, put me out in the fucking wing and I'll play just as good as a world-class winger.
Yeah.
Like, world-class stuff. And I remember Kieran Marmion years ago going out in the wing, and he forever stayed in Joe Schmidt's heart because he went out in the wing. I don't know, was it against Australia or something? And he did all right. You know what I mean? He did grand. You know, he was a fish out of water. What the fuck are they doing at training to say that Jamison Gibson Park went, yep, out I go. No bother. And like looked amazing and had unbelievable speed and feet. You're like, what the fuck? How? Nobody seemed to be like in that deceptive pass that had hit the ref. The scrum half happened to be one of the biggest units on the fucking field in Andrew Porter. Do you know he was the scrum half in that deception move? They're training. Jesus Christ, they're training. I would love to know what they're doing. I would love to. It's like Willy Wonka's fucking factory over there, isn't it? Yes. Like, what are you doing? You're producing the Schnappelberries taste like Schnappelberries. To say that you can have somebody that comfortable where he's not kind of looking inward or kind of, what do I am I all right here? Am I nothing? He just like he was a fucking winger.
Yeah, and to do it in a World Cup with so much like enjoyment and like, oh fuck, what's on the line here? You know, like if I fuck this up, am I letting everyone down? Like, nah, just they're just so kind of empowered to just play their hearts out in any way they fucking can.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Poor on Mac. He went off for a HIA because he absolutely his arms got pinned down by his side. I remember looking at it going, oh fuck, and he just planted his forehead into the ground at full tilt, and it was like, oh Jesus Christ. But hopefully, I was looking just before we started recording. I was looking. The doc was out today. He was like, no, I feel really good about Mac. He got a bang in the leg, but he's after all the swelling has gone down from it. It's he's in great shape, and he says Loey's eye is clearing up no end, like, so they kind of keep drops on it, I suppose, and everything else, like, but only because Robbie Henshaw and Keith Earls they're recovering from hamstrings at training, like, but which is wont to happen when you're training clearly the fucking house down. And, you've got a few miles up on the clock. But for me, I know Jameson Gibson Park got the man of the match, but who I couldn't take my eyes off of was Hugo Keenan.
Oh my God.
Huh? Like, you look at him in comparison and you'd be a fool to think that he's a light man and maybe he doesn't have... But the work he had to do, Johnny Sexton gave him a fucking hospital pass for that second try of his. Like, a fucking hospital pass. That was to nobody. That was pure Hail Mary stuff altogether. And he caught that 4 foot off the ground he jumped. And then still had to plant his feet and get the fucking engine going fast like the fucking Roadrunner. And now their defense was at 6s and 7s. But he still went in over the line with fucking 2-hand fucking Van der Merwe hanging off his back and some other bodies.
But what I love about that as well is that, like, if you're a team that's used to things being like kind of precise,
yes,
and if a pass goes a bit wayward, you're not conditioned to like jump further, reach further. You probably throw your hands in the air like you'd see players do, like, as in, what the fuck is that pass about? Like, they're also as well drilled as they are, they're fucking good in chaos as well.
Yeah. That's exactly it. They're good in chaos, and it seems to be like there was no, as you said, throw your hands in the air. There was no moment of, for fuck's sake, he just went, oh, there's the ball, I'll have that. And by the way, I'm scoring a try now. It was just, I have to imagine, you have to imagine if you're anybody else looking down the pipe. And I know they're saying, oh, they're in the long grass for us and there's revenge on their mind and everything else, but you have to be looking at that, even if with the confidence of it, the All Blacks, they've had a handy old spin through it, other than the kicking they got up the whole lot of France.
Spin. Like, they've not been warmed up well for this at all. No. Like, their last 3 games were, it's good crack, but you need those South Africa, Scotland games, like, to fucking put your zone of proximal activity needs to be expanded.
The zone of proximal. Oh, say that again.
The zone of proximal activity needs to be stretched and expanded. Lads. And the All Blacks zone of proximal activity has been small.
Oh, now listen, that's I can physically see you write that on a whiteboard and then shouting at people. Wow, that's...
I learned it in college. I didn't come up with it.
If you comparatively, like, if you look at, like, how battle hardened does Peter O'Mahony look right now? Like,
I know, but you don't want them to be fucking bollocks either.
No, but sure, hence he came off at 55. He came off at 50 minutes. Like, that's all right.
I know.
And he stopped all that Jacqueline shit he used to be doing before. It was great and good for the tempo, but he was going to get his neck actually broken if he didn't. And he stopped all that carry on. And here he is sidestepping, making breaks, offloading the fucking Mac Hansons out at fucking second center. So it's like, okay, clearly there's been a new, you've been given license to do whatever you want. And I don't think there's beaten up, because they're playing so fluid with so much. So much freedom in their mind, even. I would imagine the body is like when you see lads like Caelan Doris with a big old cheesy grin on him before the match, going, oh man, this is fucking class. This is pure class. And
it is the first match that we've got a good few niggles after, which we're lucky that that's the case, but It just goes to show how intense the match was.
Yeah, I guess so. And I mean, when you actually look at it in the goal line today, we didn't come away with too many. Like, nobody got buckled. Like, everybody else is suffering way worse than we are with, people going homes and stuff, home and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Georgians have moved out of the dressing room, thank fuck.
Have they, the tramps? Grand, you got your dressing room back. They take their cryo chamber back to fucking
They
Georgia,
have.
wherever Georgia is, somewhere near Russia. But it's shag off,
They've
you
moved out.
bastard.
So and Australia are gone and Scotland are gone. But Portugal are gone. Fuck it. Did you see that game?
I was only able to catch the highlights because my day was filled yesterday with Ireland. Because Saturday I missed completely. But Jesus. I was watching it live, I was getting live updates through Twitter where I was like, no fucking way. And then you watch it, and every heartfelt backing track in the world you could play over that the highlights. It was like, oh my God, they're balling afterwards. It's like,
but whatever about that, it wasn't as if they kind of ground out a lucky win. They were brilliant. It was like rugby in its purest form. Like, it was Fijian rugby. It was like the offloads, the kicks, the going for it, the fucking the props kicking, the like massive hits, like chasing down, putting on the line speed. And Fiji were the same, like the fucking speed of the props.
Oh my God.
Tearing back for the ball, like it was just fucking brilliant. Like, I just enjoyed it so much. And like, there were tries, which, I was chatting with a few of the girls and they were saying like, oh, the Ireland South Africa game was like, because I said I think that was probably one of the best, if not the best games of the World Cup, like the last one. And she was like, oh, but Ireland South Africa was so good. I was like, yeah, but the tries, man, the tries is why you watch rugby, like the high scores and this the to the death, like fucking.
Well, that's what you want. Do you want it to the death? And there's so the fuck all on the line, as silverware. But what's on the line is, and this is again not to get too in my older age, I've stripped back. I can't deal with the fluff around anything anymore. Like, I can't deal with especially in the entertainment industry. It's tough enough to sidestep a lot of that shit. But I'll tell you, when you watch the rawness of that, I could have watched that up in the fucking the back pitch in fucking Kilfeacle. That game. That was pure and utter raw rugby. There was nothing but heart on the line. It was like, holy sweet Jesus Christ. Nobody expects either of you to go on and win the World Cup. Everybody does love Fiji. And Fiji were kind of flying high right now. You know what I mean? They're, they're becoming household names and stuff.
But maybe it'll do them. I hope it's one of those things where it kind of does them.
It will absolutely do them the world of good. Because they possibly, which is completely acceptable. If I was them, I'd be going, we're fucking class. We're class now. Aren't we class? Yeah, sure, we're fucking class.
Yeah.
But it was the heart. Maybe we need more Latin teams, fucking those people that like Portugal and stuff like that, who have so much heart. Do like the Argentinians or the Italians, like there's just so much love and heart in the game. Like,
they were quite open about the fact that it's a team made up of half French guys and half Portuguese guys.
Yeah.
Like, they all seem to come from like one club in Portugal, and the rest are in. But like, this is the thing, the rest are in like Pro D2.
Yeah.
They're not even in the top 14. Like, it's fucking working class, like non-professional players. It was unbelievable. I fucking loved it. And like, they're gonna have to unlock tier 1 at some stage.
Yeah.
Northern and Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree, because there's talks now with Fiji. Like, so many people love Fiji. You know what I mean? I would be delighted to go out and buy a Fijian jersey. Do you know what I mean? Nice
anyway.
Yeah, it is class, and always has been. I had one years ago and it was ficked off me in Wales on a tour. But anyway, enough said about that. It was some kip. But there's something snazzy. You know what I mean? They're almost like what are they? The Harlem Globetrotters. You know what I mean? You'd go, class. Fucking class. But now,
it's like what we were saying though, Tom, like, we better hurry up and win this fucking World Cup because we're all doomed once Fiji and Samoa and Tonga get their proper investment. Everyone else is fucked. Like Australia are fucked.
Australia better start finding some fucking birth certs of lads that, you know what I mean? They better find some more fucking Will Skeltons. That's all I know, because we're all fucked.
No one watches rugby there, and especially not after this fucking tournament. It won't be like they're going to struggle so much for next year's. Well, I'd be very happily wrong about that as well. Because I'd like to see. I love Australia. I'd like to see them back if they're needed. But what I wonder is this non-eagerness to open up to unlock tier 1. Like Fiji, Fiji doesn't have money. I'm just using Fiji as an example now. They don't have money. You're going to have to give them every penny. It's not like they're a rich nation that's going to be able to put back in,
But they'll put arses in. There's no argument for it. They'll put arses in front of tellies. They absolutely fucking will. Like Sanzar has the money to fucking. Here's the thing, and this is no conspiracy theory. Romania should be huge. You know that they should be the 6th nation. Prior to I was ashamed of my ignorance prior to me doing the thing for the rugby, the rugby experience in Limerick. I did a bit of reading up. I just wanted to see who was playing for Romania and stuff like that, just in case there was going to be a bit of chat, which as it turns out, there had to be. I had to fill some voids with just not complete Norsey stuff, but just I actually created a quickfire round for of questions. And turns out they were the fourth ever rugby nation to form a national team. 4th.
Yeah.
They were shit hot back in the day. Now, it was only open to military people, and then when they opened it, at one stage, they were all just coming out of one. There was about 6 clubs around the main city.
Yeah.
And they were competing. They were competing and beating. And even in the 70s, they clipped a couple of big, they pushed the All Blacks. But they begged and begged and begged to be actually taken seriously and whatnot. But there was blatant snobbery from this side of Europe, kind of going, no, Eastern Europe, you can fucking stay over there. Thank you very much. That's got you got a whole smell of communism of you, and we're not fucking into that. Thank you very, very much. And just left him out in the cold. You know what I mean? With wouldn't even come and play him.
But it's not sustainable, like Romania, Georgia. We'll probably see the same fucking thing with Portugal now as well, or anyone who comes banging on the door. There's only so long you can bang on the door for. It's not sustainable to continue to grow. You might peak, but you'll fall off again if you're not taken seriously, like you say. So they've just got to unlock that now, and I think they're just gonna. As much as I hate to say it, it's the right thing to do, because I love the 6 Nations the way it is, but it is the right thing to do for the tournament and for other countries. Is it's got to be a promotion relegation tournament.
I 100% agree. 100% agree, and I love the Cowell Morns of the 6 Nations and stuff like that, and I think it's fine for us, I suppose, in one way, because we've been saving ourselves for a while, but it has to freshen things up. Can you imagine the buzz of a Portuguese team or a Georgian team getting into the 6 Nations? You know what I mean? The buzz of them.
The only thing that's hard to manage then is, and this has become less difficult for the women's game now because it's got its own window. But for the under-20s, they want the under-20s fixtures to be the same, and I get that. It makes it a whole event. So do you then put, if Romania qualified, would you put the under-20s Romania team in? I don't know. It's very hard to manage that. So it's definitely worth a thought. But before we finish up now, because I'm conscious we've taken a lot of our listeners' time. This is just something I have to touch on now, because it pissed me off. But
now, and a soapbox.
I'm very happy that I've been able to personally I've had a chip on my shoulder about the men's team doing so well in the last few years, when the women's game has been so neglected and it's been so shite, especially when I was playing, and seeing how much we were falling away and how supported they were. I'm just really glad that I'm able to fucking enjoy it as much as I have always enjoyed every sport, but rugby is my favorite sport of all, obviously. And I'm just so happy that I've been able to put those feelings aside and literally enjoy this for what it is. I'm so happy. But when I got back to my hotel after the match, said hello to some fella in the lobby, and don't know his name. Well, I won't even bother saying where he's from in case this is traced back to him. But we were chatting about rugby, and he was basically came from the angle of like, oh, what do we do in our club? Our club's women's team is after kind of falling away, and we don't know what to do about it. And so I was talking to him about it, and like, I felt like he was coming from a very honest place and very like, with the best interests at heart. But the more he spoke, the more he was like, why should we get in trouble when women don't give a shit about rugby? And like, why don't you support each other? And why don't women? It's your fault. It's women's fault. It's women's fault that the women's game is so shit. Women's rugby will never be the same as men's rugby. And I literally like, everything he said, I had a response to. I was able to argue with him. I was able to like reason with him. And he was telling me he had a young daughter. And eventually he said to him, I hope your daughter is shit at sport. He was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, I hope she never has aspirations to make it anywhere, because she'll have you, who's supposed to be our number one supporter, standing in her way, telling her that she will never be as good as anyone else. Blah, blah, blah. And he just went on and on and on. Anytime I tried to reason, he just had an answer. So it didn't matter what I was explaining, and he seemed to understand what I was saying. It didn't matter what I said. He was so right all the time. Women can't do this, women can't. And he said, excuse me, tell me now, is there any women's player that could ever be as good as Tyg Byrne? He just chose Tyg Byrne as an example. And I said, right, what age did Tyg Byrne start playing rugby? And where did he go to school? And what did he have access to? Minis, under 10s, under 12s, schools rugby, private school rugby, academy systems, this, that, that. And I said, not one girl in Ireland has ever had that opportunity or those opportunities. Not one. So I said, when the girls in Ireland have the same opportunities, Tyg Byrne, I will meet you back here in this lobby and we can continue this conversation. And until then, fuck off.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, look, we know there's no argument, but as you call them, toenails, like, I wonder sometimes have these fellas, like, have they been mistreated by their mother or something? You're like, how have you such a fucking problem with women? Like,
and he was so annoyed that he was so annoyed that I was getting annoyed at him, because he felt like he was he felt like he was being sound, and he just couldn't get over the fact that he just thought I was so stupid. And he was like, how could you think that
differently to me? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, but women aren't as strong. And I was like, well, why don't you watch powerlifting then? He was like, yeah, but women aren't as fast. I was like, well, why didn't you go and watch the athletics? Rugby has fucking nothing to do with those things. Yeah. Like, anyway, sorry. There was the one thing, what I was thinking was like, I've enjoyed fucking talking about like rugby and like this Ireland team and everything so much. And then some bollocks has to come and ruin my fucking day.
Yeah. Like, do you know what? I see, I have a toenail detector myself, and I get them from time to time. I actually had a conversation with a woman the other evening about how to deal with these doses in these scenarios in the acting world. And it was hilarious how she allowed it in this scenario. And she went, I rang the fella, and I was heading home. I rang him, and he went, oh, Jesus. Well, I'll get a bottle of Prosecco on. We'll stick on our favourite show. And she said, I just can't be dealing with it. I said, okay, I'd actually a worse scenario slightly with somebody. And I'm going to explain to you how more mind is at. Maybe it's an age thing. But like, this guy wanted to change the script in this and it was the most crucial part of a script. It actually, if you knew anything about script, you know that these 4 lines absolutely set up the established 3 characters roles in these 4 lines. And this guy was like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And we decided to change it. Turns out he was some sort of politician on the side or whatever.
Oh, jeez.
And a whole room was terrified of him. The whole room was terrified of him, which I didn't pick up on at all until I kind of looked at it afterwards. And in that moment, I have so much in my life that I don't give a fuck about this fella's opinion. because it had to happen to benefit the entire room, and it had to happen to fucking make the movie make sense. I was like, no, I've changed that. Look at that, I've changed that. I went, would you mind not letting the door fucking hit you on the way out? And your man kind of looked at me. And this guy in his 60s, he clearly never been spoke to like that. I said, no, I'm serious. I will go out and find somebody on the fucking road who'll read the lines, because that's better than you not reading the fucking lines. Now, you on board? Or will I open the fucking door for you? And the guy was, well, I suppose, and he could just see, he must have looked at my face and went, oh God, this man is fucking broken inside. He's not moving. And then I swear to God, in a millisecond, I was past it. And down the fucking road, I didn't think of it again until I spoke to her the next day. She went, how did you just delete that from your mind? That's because he didn't matter. That's why. He didn't matter to the end fucking game. He didn't. She was like, I should really adopt that. I said, it's years of being an ignorant bastard has probably done that to me. But he didn't matter. That's the thing. He didn't fucking matter. If he walked off a cliff or if he went and won the lotto, he could walk on water immediately after. It won't change the outcome for you. And I get you, because you feel so strongly about it. And it's all well and good for me to say it. I probably didn't have well, I did. I wrote that fucking script. It had to happen. But I had a staunch, I knew if it was in something else, maybe we could discuss it. But this guy had just gone and fucking changed it himself. But in that moment, it's only just practice, I suppose, at being. Dead inside is the wrong word, but maybe I am a bit dead inside.
But you know what? I didn't spare another thought about this fella in terms of me. I wasn't like, oh my God, I hope that guy doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, so in that terms, I've gotten better at that. So because I'd be worried about anyway. It's not like he knew who I was or I knew who he was. But what I owe it to the girls in his club and his daughter and those women in his life, like I'm on their side.
Yes.
Like I'm not going to just let him think like that. It's just not in my nature. And sometimes I let them go and sometimes I don't. But we got into this conversation about it. And oh my God, it's a fucking insect. Christ almighty. How the fuck did he get in here?
That is metaphoric. That's literally him as in insect form. He's literally, that's like something Shakespeare would write into a script. You're literally describing a complete parasite of a human.
Parasite. Right. He's after disappearing.
Worse.
Anyway, I'll find him in a second there now. Anyway, that's why I don't always back down, is because sometimes you do need to challenge, because there is a bigger picture and it's not just about me either. It's about fucking, everything I fought for. And that's what I said to him. I was like, I haven't given all my life to rugby to meet some bollocks in the lobby of a fucking thing to tell me about it. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. And he was like, I've given my life to rugby. I played in AIL 2 or something like that. I'm like, fucking, okay, well done. But I'm not telling you that you aren't, I'm not telling you what you can achieve and what you can't. Congratulations for playing AIL 2.
Yeah, but did he found the club? You know what I mean? Like, this is like, what did he give to the club? That
exactly.
The club is now in a better place as a result. Like, you just showed up, man. Do you know what I mean?
Because he was a man.
I'm a firm believer. You can't crib like if it's a situation like a local town, or a club, or an institution like that. You don't really have a fucking dog in the fight unless you've actually made an attempt to fucking change it yourself. You can't stand there and go, "Oh, fuck women's rugby." You're like, what do you know about it? Have you ever?
Well, he was. Have you ever? That was his argument. Yeah.
What have you done for it?
It's just, but our women's club has fallen away and we got in trouble for it. Like, well, did you go into the schools? Because if you didn't, then that was probably an answer. But if you didn't want to hear that answer, then you can't be giving out.
For me, I don't even see women and men. Like, it's like, just get the fucking club. The whole club comes up together, you dickhead. The whole club, everybody. So you bring up the kids, you bring up the girls, you bring up the boys, you bring up everybody. The fuck are you doing going, no, we need to segregate women. What's wrong with women? Do you not like women? What's up?
That's very much a GAA thing of a whole club. Well, some GAA clubs, obviously, not all GAA clubs have had these either. But I feel like that's a parish thing. And like, I don't know if you've ever. You should read it. Scrum Queens, Ali Donnelly. She wrote about the history of women's rugby. It's fucking unbelievable. We'll talk about it again another time. But basically, she was saying, when she came into rugby, she was so shocked because she had come from a club where, exactly what you're saying, didn't matter who the fuck's playing, the under-14s, and then afterwards the whole village is out beeping the horns. And when she came into rugby, it was so unusual for her. You know, she just wanted to play this sport, and people are ridiculing. It's not just like, oh, let it happen or roll your eyes. It's actually actively trying to stop it, actively having a problem with it. That's where I won't stand out.
I pray I am not friends. I highly doubt I am with anybody who's a closeted fucking toenail like that. I couldn't wrap my honestly. I can't. To give one, like, to care about, you know, somebody's gender. If I'm part of a club, it would kill me if any facet of it, whether it's the fucking the women, the kids, any bit of it was falling off. Like, no, we have to shore up that fucking side because it affects us all. It taints all our fucking brand if we're not looking at. That's just me. I could not. That now would be me walking out of the house with one leg of my trousers. Do you know what I mean? Going, well, I clearly need to go and get a proper pair of fucking trousers because I haven't. Rather than going, yeah, but this leg is class. Do you know what I mean? It's covered. Fuck you, the other leg. Fuck you. You should have sorted out your own fucking trouser. You know, I just can't. I can't grasp that, how you wouldn't want to button up everything right. Do you know, and not be worried about whether they've got fucking ponytails or fucking, you know, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, button up the whole thing. Would you not want your women killing fucking Scotland as well another weekend? Like, do you know, like, I don't get it.
This is it.
I do want to give an honorable mention to one of the slickest moves in the whole match. There was a lot of beautiful handling, a lot of beautiful fucking. By the way, you would have you'll appreciate this, but I was salivating at the Maul defense. I know this is some nerdy stuff, but the Maul defense was disgusting if you were a Scottish person, because there wasn't a millimeter they went backwards anytime. It must have been fucking soul destroying to see just, okay, they're not literally the ref is like 2 seconds in going, you're going nowhere, son, get it gone. It's like, but I have to pick up on Jack Crowley's crossfield kick off the outside of his fucking boot. I watched it about 15 times. It was, and he was getting bared down on as well, and he was literally on one leg when he chipped it. I mean, it was absolutely. Now I know crossfield kicks are a thing now, but that was absolutely fucking glorious to see it, and a big smile on his face as he's getting tackled, because he was like, "Oh, Gary, catch it, Gary!" And Gary was, of course, going to fucking catch it. I just looked at it a bunch of times, going, "Wow, I wish it had more angles on it," because it was just off the outside of his boot. This piece of stuff that you go, you'd be only at that train and messing. This, Jesus. So predictions. I need to get a prediction off you. I said 20 points, 15 to 20 points against Scotland. Nobody's scoffed at it, but I think people, they keep on. There's a fucking ad on television now. This really is withering my fucking knockers. There are all these people in an Irish jerseys, with green jerseys in a pub, and they're all talking about, God, if we could only
the
do
fella
it.
who jinxes it.
And a guy jinxes. Oh, think it, don't jinx it. And I put up a fucking post last week on fuck Scotland, fuck everybody. We're winning the World Cup. I don't want to. I do not believe in taking a backward step on this. And it's not cocky. We're playing in a different fucking realm. And people, the amount we don't think it, Tom. Don't jinx it. And I didn't know where they were all getting it from. I was like, is this some phrase? And it's clearly from this ad, think it, don't jinx it. I'm like, fuck that. Do you think South Africa fucking cared in '95 when they flew a jet over the yoke, and Mandela was like, "What, win the fucking thing?" We're going, don't jinx it, Nelson. Don't fucking jinx it. You know, no. Fuck. We're unbelievably good, and I'm saying 8 points. We're going to beat New Zealand by. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I thought you were saying 20 points. Jesus.
No, I don't think it's going to be an absolute rinse, but I'm happy to. But I ain't going any lower than 8.
Jesus, I really would appreciate if the last few minutes were not within one score.
I think New Zealand have it in the tank to stay, and I just picked it because I like a bit of drama. But at the same time, I think the fuckers can stay in the fight because they do have it in them. They've got the likes of Will Jordan out there and Damien McKenzie. Now, not one fucking player doth make a team. They're still running around without Sam Whitelock out there, and God bless him, he's on 117,000 caps now at this stage. And while he is a class player, you know, come on now. Do you know, there's they ain't the team they used to be. But again, they've been running soft since France. They've been going over soft teams since France. They have no battle hardness in them. None. Imagine getting hit by Caelan Doris after the last couple of matches he's just had. When he decides to put the footwork on and go, no, do you know what? I'm going to line you up, you fucker. And then mills you. Oh, Jesus. Welcome to the fucking party. Yeah, actually, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say 10. I'm after talking myself. You're after talking me into that. I'm going to say 10.
I'll go with 3 then, just to make it
Jesus. Okay.
Heart-stopping. But I think it could be more. But I'll go with 3 just to put the shits on.
Can I say something out loud? A dream that I had, and this is pure fucking Ryder over stuff, right? Final against South Africa, right? Swear my life, had this dream as vivid as I can. If I close my eyes right now, I had it. Johnny's gone off, legs after cramping from fucking underneath him. Crowley comes on. They know they need a fucking. They're 2 points out. They need a drop goal, need a penalty, need something. Crowley goes for his signature drop goal, clips Faf de Klerk's fingers, sending it straight up against the upright. The only man who'd been coming from a bit of a schmozzle up the field, who was running at full belt, so he's onside, is Peter Mahony. Catches the fucking ball coming back off the post because nobody was wide to it. And fucking plows straight in over the line, knocks fucking Eben Etzebeth out, and scores a fucking try. And then Jack takes the full 29 seconds to kick the win. Well, we'd won it at that stage because Peter Mahony. Now, I do know people will look into that and go, that was a very Munster-esque sounding thing that happened there. But I honestly don't think anybody would have any problem if we ended up winning the World Cup like that.
No.
We're getting a Netflix special if we win the fucking World Cup like that, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Fuck.
You're
saying... have long to wait. We don't have long to wait.
We've only
By the time we talk next week now, we'll either be in a semi-final or we'll be crying into our cup of tea.
Don't you dare. It's 10 points or 3, as you said, but I have a feeling that, yeah, look, I'm saying 10, you're saying 3. Let's hope Mystic Mac makes it back. With his calf or whatever the hell was wrong. He has a grow. I think the nation loves that man. I think there'll be a statue of him in Ayr Square alongside Bundy Aki and Finlay Beelum if we win the World Cup. But oh Lord save us, I'm getting very fucking excited at the notion of this.
No, stop talking about the final now because
I know I'm getting very excited about this. We have New Zealand.
The small steps too, yeah.
It's New Zealand at the weekend. I don't know how you're fixed. I'll text you. I think I'm now free Thursday and Friday. We won't try on Instagram again. We'll see what way you're fixed. We may, because people loved, or it might be next week, whatever. People loved the How to Rugby. So we were going to do scrums and lineouts and mauls and strike plays next. Whenever we can, we will get it out. We will make no promises. But look you know what to do. If you haven't hit subscribe on whatever platform you're on, please do. We're doing well on Apple Podcasts these days, apparently. So do hit subscribe. You're like, Jez, these two aren't paid at all. Do hit, and if you can give us a rating, that'd be amazing. Give us the top rating. Anything less than that is no good to Anna over there or me. And you know what? Share it. Tell Nana about it. That seems to be the way that seems to happen. Other than that, Anna, I'm going in for a sup of tea. I'm absolutely gashing. That's got me very excited. And to be honest with you, while it is a decent substitution for Lilt, I'm now gasping after drinking it. So.
Okay, good to know. I'll write that down.
I wouldn't say no to another one. That's the only thing, though. Do you know that kind of way? There's an awful Moorish taste of that stuff, whatever's in it. Tropical blush from Eldi. Right. Ihawa.
Slán bhaile.
Banana and bear.